Great, you're live, sir.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our August 17th, 2026 Commissioners Meeting. Commissioner Leonard will lead us in an invocation and pledge.
Dear Lord, thank you for this Monday morning here in August that we are also privileged to wake up to. Be with all those people here in Indiana as well as around the country that are experiencing weather-related issues and inconveniences and destruction. And our hearts go out to them, and we're thankful that here in Bartholomew County that we were spared compared to 2008. Be with us today as we contemplate business for Bartholomew County and its citizens. And again, thank you for all the blessings that you give each and every one of us every day of our lives. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Carl. First up, we have the approval of minutes.
I'd move to approve those minutes.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? None. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Next up, we have the approval of payroll.
I will move to approve our payroll.
And I will second
A
that.
motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. New permits issued for the week of August 10th. We had 36 new permits issued. Fee amount of $7,327 with a value amount estimated at $4,247,293. New commercial building on 46 West and BHI Senior Living in town. Bartholomew County continues to build. It's good news. That report is available in the Code Enforcement Office if anyone would like to see that. Next up, we have Danny Hollander, our highway engineer. Good morning, Danny.
Morning.
How are you today?
I am good.
What do you have for us today?
The crew report, we put in culvert pipes on Spray Road and also 700 West. We put shoulders on 700 North up by the pickle place. We worked on signs and then we put up high water signs and moved around high water signs and then cut up trees and that had fallen during the storm. So.
You know, I don't, Carl, given that you're a farmer, I don't recall a late summer where we've been so wet as we've been the last 3 weeks.
I was just gonna.
For July, August.
I was
May
gonna-
and June, yes, but this late, we have just had so much water.
Mowing like it's June.
Yes.
It usually dries the bone, but not now.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
will be interesting whether, I know a lot of people are making fun of the work done here at
White River.
will be interesting whether or not they get to take the dam out this year. Because
The weather.
they wanted to take it out in August when the water was low. And I don't know whether they'll get to play around in there in September or not. So be interesting to see how that works out.
Danny, you have a ratification of an expenditure on a truck.
Yes, this truck, Stoops couldn't fix it, so it had to go all the way to Cummins to get work on their engine, so.
Yeah. The exhaust gas recirculation system, $7,067.38.
I make a motion, we go ahead and ratify that expenditure. That's the joys of having big trucks.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
I'll make a little joke. This morning, Tony said, yeah, when the VGT goes out, the EGR always goes out too.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
Just the initials of the components that are listed on the,
Carl didn't want to talk about vehicle troubles today, do you,
Yeah.
No,
Carl? All right. Did we vote on that?
no.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, Danny. Next up, we have Rachel Floor David with the Prevention Initiatives Director for Youth Services Center.
Rachel had such a good time here the last time. She just had to come
I
back.
couldn't wait to come back and see you
Oh,
guys.
Rachel, what do you have for us today?
So after I was here the last time, we only allocated out about half of the Bartholomew County Substance Abuse Grant funds that we are provided each year. And so we put out a second call to the community and got the second round going and have allocations for that second round, or allocation recommendations. So I believe you guys all have a copy of this. Second round allocation recommendations are as follows. Prevention and Education, Advocates for Children, $2,084.08. Big Brothers Big Sisters, $2,084.08. Boys and Girls Club, $1,500. Healthy Communities, $2,000 for a total of $7,668.16 in the prevention category. Treatment Intervention, Community Downtown, CCC, $858. Dove Recovery House for Women, $4,810.56. Community Engagement Center, $1,250. Healthy Communities, $2,000. Soundboard Therapy, $644.60 for a total of $9,563.16 in the treatment category. Law Enforcement Justice, Bartholomew County Sheriff's Office, $3,044.26. Healthy Communities, $3,052.70 for a total of $6,096.96 in the law enforcement category. That leaves our balances for all three categories at zero.
Rachel, how do you come up with these amounts?
So the county, so based on basically certain charges, there are fees applied to those. Those are all collected at the county level, sent to the state. The state takes their 25% and sends 75% back to the county. With those fees, which are specifically to the Indiana Drug Free Communities Fund, we have to allocate out for each of the three categories. So prevention, treatment, and law enforcement cannot have any less than 25% of those funds allocated and cannot have more than 51% of those funds allocated. There is an administrative fund that we're allowed to allocate funds to, but we choose not to do that. We're entirely volunteer oriented, and so we feel like the money needs to go back to the organizations in the community. So then what we do is we take those, we divide those out, ensuring that those are the kind of the amounts that we can't go below or above. We put grant applications out. Those applications come in. The Substance Abuse Council then meets, reviews all of those applications, has a lot of discussion about what's in those applications, how those funds can be spent, where does it make sense, does a whole lot of sacrificing and negotiating, because everybody's sitting at that table then to ensure that for the most part, everyone gets kind of a piece of the pie. We, most of the time, with the exception of the last time, because we did not have as many grant applications, we very rarely does any one organization get all of the funds that they request. Normally they are willing, they sit at the table and say, well, we can, we can do it for 1,500 instead of 2,000, and we'll go over here and ask for that additional 500.
Okay.
I was glad to see the number as you go through those categories, and everyone doesn't have it before them. But the Dove Recovery House for Women got a larger amount.
They did.
I know they didn't get what they asked for on the first round.
Yes. So, and they were one that came back to us, and they have received a lot of funds, but not a lot of funds for curriculum.
And that's a program that I think everyone supports, so.
Yes.
All those groups, they do such good work.
They do. Anyone else have any other questions for Rachel? I'd make a motion that we accept her report and enter it into our minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Those opposed, motion passes. Rachel, thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. I shouldn't be back till like February now, when we get our next round of grant
Put it on the
funds.
schedule, Tina.
Thank you,
Put it on the
Rachel.
schedule.
Thanks so much.
Next up, we have Captain Justin Arnholt, I believe. Good morning, Justin. This is our second reading of a consideration of an ordinance amending a portion of ordinance number 2004-03 pertaining to establishing co-payments for the healthcare related services incurred by inmates at the Bartholomew County Jail. We had the first reading last week. This Indiana law was changed relating to inmate medical co-payment effective July 1st, 2026. House Enrolled Act 1343 amended provision within the Indiana Code must be amended as follows. That essentially the amendment increases the copay amount from $15 to $30. And it also increases the amount of time the medical transaction is carried on the books from 60 days to 180 days. Justin, do you have anything to add to that before we have the public hearing?
I do not.
Okay. In that case, ordinances require 2 public hearings. We had our first one last week. I'll open up now for the second public reading. For anyone who has anything to say, positive or negative about this particular issue. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Commissioners,
Tony, on second reading, I will make a motion. We go ahead and adopt this ordinance amending a portion of ordinance 2004-03 pertaining to health care related to the inmates at the Bartholomew County Jail.
I will second.
we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Justin, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have consideration of addendum 2026-1 to the Animal Services Agreement for calendar years 2026 to 2030 with the Humane Society. This amendment, this addendum essentially changes our contract that we had entered into, which charged on a per animal basis. And this addendum, when we got together and had conversations about how things were going and how that was all playing out, it wasn't doing what it should do. And so we are amending the contract to do away with the per animal charge, have a flat $350,000 annual payment to the Humane Society broken up in 12 monthly installments. We will amend our contract to recognize that for 2026, which we had budgeted $250,000 will be going to the council to have the additional $100,000 for the Humane Society. We'll be going to that this afternoon to request that. So any addendum today should be based on the fact that that would be approved. And then going forward, there will be I believe a 2.5% CPI index on that money through 2030. The above numbers constitute a 2.5% increase per year. I believe that pretty much sums up this addendum. Commissioners, do you have anything to add on that?
Carl, do you have anything?
I think just for the minutes here, so for 2027, the payment will be $350,000. For 2028, it will be $358,750. For 2029, it will be $367,718.75. And for 2030, it will be $376,911.72. We have a long-standing history. I think this is, did we
60
figure
years.
this is the 60th year or is next year the
We're in the
60th?
60th year.
We're in the 60th year of our partnership with Humane Society. And, while these numbers might seem somewhat large, the commissioners realize that we cannot man and staff and maintain a facility for ourselves for this kind of money. So
You are correct about that.
And
Um,
it's, and you stated, Carl, but and I think I have not been here for the entire 60 years of that relationship.
I have not either.
But when I have been here, we as a county and the taxpayers support the mission of the Humane Society. Occasionally, we have points of rub or disagreement on various things, not very often. But I think this amendment to our contract kind of reflects that support. And I'm willing and ready to sign it, so.
the cost of dealing with animals that are strays continues to rise dramatically. And they both said it, both Larry and Carl have said it, that the county could not build and maintain and staff and program a facility like this for $350,000 a year. We looked at different ideas and different things to try to limit the exposure to the taxpayer, and quite frankly, this is still a bargain when you consider. So
Tony, if you're ready, I'll make a motion.
can we open it
Oh,
up?
yeah,
See if-
yeah, yeah.
Just wanted to see if anybody in the audience had anything to share with regard to this issue. We do have a couple folks here today from the Humane Society. Welcome.
We do the spade neutering as a separate thing, don't we?
Yep, that's, and we kind of leave that to the.
Well,
Humane
that is
Society.
something that the Humane Society does offer now. And we did help get that started, but they are taking it running and doing a fantastic job with it. All right. Yes, Riley.
I just want to clarify, so the $350,000 is to replace the fee of bringing in each animal for like the $900 or so dollars?
Right.
Exactly.
Okay,
So, yeah,
all right.
yeah.
I just want to make sure that was.
It
that's
just
right.
became very cumbersome,
Yeah,
and we knew that the numbers would be fairly close to that anyway. So this just kind of clears that up
And it makes, doing it the way that we originally did it, the inconsistency makes it difficult to run a shelter.
It does.
When you might go 2 or 3 months without any revenue from the county, makes it difficult and makes it difficult on us. So we just felt like we needed to amend it.
And so many people, because it's called the Bartholomew County Humane Society, thinks that the county runs it. And they don't. They're a private organization with a board of directors, and we are
contract.
a good customer.
And Tony, with that, I think it's important that we state within this amendment and in our contract, we're very careful to not overstep our bounds. Our contract, except for a couple pretty minor events, we don't tell the Humane Society how to run their business. And we're careful that we protect our interests through the agreement. And so that'll be on the record and in the minutes. We do not run the Humane Society. We're not trying to run the Humane Society. They have a board of directors that does that.
Tony, I'll make a motion. We go ahead and enter into this addendum 2026-1 to our agreement that was signed on January 5th of 2026.
Subject to.
Carl, I would say subject to council
Council approval.
approving the budgets
this afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll include that.
That will be actually September 14th, when the council will approve for the Humane Society.
Okay,
Well, the
subject to
additional for this
council
year is
approval.
today.
No, the additional today that you're doing is for the Youth Services Center. And we have to wait till September 14th, a council meeting to approve the 100,000.
Okay,
But we
all right.
do
I
have
thought it
enough-
was
We
today.
do have enough in our budget right now currently to pay the August and September.
Okay, all right, good. All right, gotcha.
Subject to
Sub-
council.
Subject to
approval.
council approval.
Doesn't matter when.
Yeah, all right. That's the motion.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, motion passes. Thanks very much. Next up, we have our auditor, Pia O'Connor, presenting the Form 144s for the 2027 budget.
Yeah, so thank you. My department sent over to you a copy of the 2027 budget request. And in total, our budget request for 2027 for all funds is $72,793,447. Of that, the general fund, where a lot of operations obviously come out of, is $43,525,829 in total.
All right.
So we will be discussing that starting at probably 1:30 after the council meeting, and we will discuss budgets until we're done.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I'd make a motion that we accept that presentation into our minutes.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed,
And Tony, to clarify, what
3-0, motion passes.
Yeah.
what we were accepting, because I think there's a state board of accounts check on that. We're accepting the 144s.
She presented that
Right.
with the whole budget,
With the-
but yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. The state so many things, state statute still says that the auditor is supposed to present the 144s to the commissioners prior to budget hearings, which is what I did. However, we don't have the department sending 144s anymore. Back in the day, I would present a summary of 144s and it would be a stack of papers. Well, we don't do it that way anymore,
Right.
so this is what's.
Yeah, but the information is within the report that you presented.
Correct.
All right, thank you very much for that.
If anybody wants any extra information, show up either in person or online this afternoon.
Yep. Thank you very much for that. That ends our advertised agenda. Under miscellaneous, we do have Michael French here today. Please come on up, Mr. French. And he wants to talk to us for 5 minutes about flock cameras. You've been here once before.
I have.
All right. The floor is yours, sir.
I want to thank you for allowing me to speak here today. This is the second time that I've spoken before the commissioners about this topic, and as before, I'll provide the
Can you raise your
commissioners.
volume just a couple notches?
Yeah.
Those in the back.
Okay. This is the second time that I've spoken before the commissioners about this topic, and as before, I will provide the commissioners with copies of what I am about to read. I do not intend to reiterate my concerns, but rather expound upon them as more disturbing information about flock safety, their automated license plate readers, and flock's deceptive practices come to my attention. Previously, I spoke of how flock employees use deceptive data sets to sell their product. Flock's deceptions and outright lies, even to government officials, have continued, and they go beyond simple data misrepresentations. At a city council meeting in Oshkosh, Wisconsin in April of 2026, the city considered whether to approve a flock safety contract. During that meeting, a council member asked if the system could create a heat map revealing where a vehicle had driven over a particular time period. Flock's chief information security officer, who attended the meeting, said that the system did not, quote, create a pattern or heat map of an individual's movement, end quote, by tracking a vehicle. At the end of the meeting, the flock safety contract was approved. The next morning, the city council learned that the flock representative had lied and that their system does produce heat maps. The Oshkosh City Council called a meeting for later that day. Joe Stevenson, Oshkosh deputy mayor, said, "I don't know how this body can govern if someone tells untruths, mistruths, or exaggerated truths. I don't know how I can make a decision or discern what's right or wrong or even the capabilities of the system if you lie to me. The council voted to immediately revoke the contract, setting a record for the shortest time between approving and canceling a Flock contract, 1 day. Flock later admitted that they had lied, but called it a small misconception. However, this was not an isolated incident. Flock has lied about whether the network's data was shared with federal agencies. Flock said that they did not have contracts with federal agencies when in fact they had contracts with U.S. Customs and Border Protection and the Department of Homeland Security, and Flock Safety gave those agencies data. Flock also published a blog stating that they do not work with U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement and that, quote, ICE does not have direct access to Flock cameras, systems, or data, Flock, unquote. Flock also stated that data is, quote, owned and controlled by the customer, end quote. The truth was that even though ICE wasn't a customer, ICE had access through data and system sharing by non-federal law enforcement. Flock and other ALPR data sharing agreements make it impossible to know whether data is being deleted as required by statutes. Data shared and stored outside of a local municipality's control could be kept indefinitely. Additionally, Flock cameras are not simply license plate readers. Flock cameras have been seen aimed at public swimming pools, children's splash pads, walking and biking paths, and other places where cars would very rarely travel, if ever. Think about that for a minute and ask yourself, why are they aiming cameras at splash pads where children's play, and who is watching those cameras? As I mentioned at the last meeting, Flock cameras are notoriously easy to hack. Apparently, all a person has to do is push a button on the back a certain number of times, connect to the Wi-Fi, and enter a simple command. After doing so, anyone can have their own spy camera, install malware, manipulate the data, reroute and live stream the feed, or whatever. I'll repeat that. Apparently, by pushing a button on the back of a camera a certain number of times, you can quickly connect to and take control of the camera. Iran installed cameras to spy on its own citizens, and Israel used that system to monitor the movements of Ayatollah Khomeini and his bodyguards. Now, I don't think that Israel will spy on me. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm not important enough to warrant surveillance by a foreign government. However, because of the lacking security of these Wi-Fi connected cameras, the potential for misuse is virtually boundless. A foreign government could monitor our government officials or citizens. Our government could use it to infringe upon the constitutional rights of any individual or group that it chooses. Many police officers have been fired for misusing Flock cameras to stalk ex-wives, ex-girlfriends, etc. Law enforcement officers do not need a warrant or even an active case number to search the databases. They can search people who are not suspected of any wrongdoing. By allowing Flock cameras into our communities, the United States and local governments are willingly and both knowingly and unknowingly setting us up for potential surveillance of any U.S. citizen, including government officials, or even children playing at splash pads, and this surveillance could be done by anyone and anywhere in the world. Flock sells their products through lies and distortions, both to the public and government officials, and they use misleading data to purportedly show that their cameras make communities safer. That hasn't been proven. Knowing what I know about ALPRs, every time I drive by one, I feel less safe. Innocent citizens have been stalked, pulled over, arrested, and detained because of misuse and misreads by LPRs. These systems are supposed to keep us safe, but now citizens need to be protected from the systems. As I mentioned, dozens of police officers have either resigned, been fired, or even been arrested for misusing the systems. Bob Sklar, a Wabash County, Indiana resident, had his license plate searched 63 times by North Manchester, Indiana police and other agencies, even though he wasn't under investigation for any crime. He said that an officer asked him, "How was your trip to Philly?" Bob assumed that the officer could only know that he'd been there through Flock searches. When asked if he felt safer, perhaps Bob said it best, "No, because I've seen the abuse. That doesn't make me feel safe at all. It actually makes me scared." Public pushback has been widespread. The pushback has resulted in members of the public blocking these cameras with spray paint, signs, bags, and has even led to the destruction of Flock cameras and cutting down the aluminum poles, costing taxpayers even more money because Flock then reinstalls them at a cost to the municipality and obviously against the wishes of many citizens. Dozens of municipalities have terminated their contracts for various reasons. The pushback has been bipartisan. Republicans, Democrats, independents, and people of various backgrounds all have concerns about Flock and other mass surveillance companies. Even a sheriff instructed his department to cancel a flock contract because of concerns about violating the Fourth Amendment. As I mentioned previously, communities have ended their contracts and had their cameras removed, only for the cameras to be reinstalled. So municipalities have had to spend taxpayer monies to have municipal workers cover the cameras with garbage bags. In Mill Creek, Utah, a flock camera was installed on city property without the city's permission. So the city took the camera down and is investigating who put it up and why, and whether other devices in the community were illegally placed. The city is not only concerned about the device, but the data and who has it and why. Furthermore, our tax dollars are being spent to turn every person in this room into data points and products to provide a profit to billion-dollar companies. These companies are using AI data centers to process all of our data while polluting our air and using tremendous amounts of fresh water and electricity, raising our utility bills. The city of Oshkosh terminated Flock's contract after 1 day because of Flock's dishonesty. Bartholomew County has allowed them to persist in our community for years. It is past time for that to end, and I'm not the only one who feels that way. After I spoke in June, I received encouragement from a couple of attendees and learned of other members of our community who share my concerns. I want the commissioners to immediately terminate Flock's contract with Bartholomew County, and I would like you to demand that Flock remove their cameras from our community. This could be accomplished by a vote today. Instead of turning yourselves, myself, your neighbors, and every member of our community into data points to be sold, I would rather you use our tax dollars to fund public education, public health, or road improvements, or to plant more native trees and wildflowers and grasses, improve Republic Park, virtually anything. I also request that you not only cancel the Flock contract, but that you do not pursue contracts with Axon or other similar companies because the outcomes are the same. Please use our tax dollars to actually benefit the county and its citizens instead of handing our tax dollars to billionaires who are actively endangering our community and the American public. Thank you. And I've provided some of the citations for the articles that I wrote, that I quoted, including Flock safety credibility lost as it repeatedly lies to city councils, police departments, and public across the country, and one from the Wabash Fort Wayne newspaper.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
And I'll
French.
take any questions if you have them.
I just had one question. Do they do any good at all?
They can, if they were properly safeguarded, I would think that they could. But the way that they are so easily hacked right now, the negatives greatly and vastly outweigh any benefits. But yes, if you were using them, like if you have an Amber Alert, something like that, and you put that in there so that you receive an active alert for that license plate, it'll trigger when it gets it. But they also will trigger misreads and things like that, which endanger the public. If you're looking for a suspect in a crime, you can put in that license plate number and it'll flag it whenever it pops up and they pass one of these cameras. So they could provide some good, but right now the negatives just completely outweigh the benefits.
Thank you for your time, Mr. French. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. French? No? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have anything to share with commissioners? No?
Tony, I had something I wanted to bring up today.
Go right ahead, Mr. Flanagan.
Maybe in the same arena, somewhat. It's an item that is certainly circulating and a front burner concern for the public. And I've discussed this with Carl and with Tony, and together we've kind of drafted this statement. And I'll read that right now. It concerns data centers. At their September meeting, the Bartholomew County Commission will be discussing a potential change to county zoning ordinances with regard to data centers. The commissioners are supportive of this action as a first step, but feel it is necessary and appropriate to then expand the scope of the discussion. Based on comments received from Bartholomew County citizens, as well as information from other counties and municipalities, the commissioners feel it in our county's best interest to more broadly and thoroughly consider how Bartholomew County should address potential future data center projects within our borders. We, the commissioners, understand that there are many potential actions that could be taken, including, but not limited to, moratoriums, stricter ordinances, and even up to and including a total ban. We are asking our county attorney and our city-county planning department to review these further steps as well as, and report on them for our consideration. We understand that data centers are front and center in many conversations all over the country, not just in Bartholomew County, and that there is a lot of misinformation, miscommunication that's being shared. It is crucial that any action Bartholomew County takes be based on correct and verified information. We know that this is an emotional topic. Some people are completely against data centers, some are neutral, others welcome them. This is not unusual when dealing with large front page issues. There's an old proverb, many hands make light work. Well, no matter how you slice it, this is not light work, but when good people who are dedicated to working toward the best possible future for Bartholomew County focus on an issue with a commitment to getting the correct information, then solutions often become self-evident, and then our community will be well served. We have spent a lot of time in our office talking about this. We've had people at our public meetings, and we felt that it was time that we speak up. We know that our planning commission and planning department have put forth a lot of work already. Melissa's here with us today representing the planning department. So we thought if we make a formal statement, then it kind of authorizes that further discussion and in-depth look. Melissa, do you have any thoughts or comments concerning that statement?
No, we're happy to look at what the other options are.
Okay,
We do know that there are 2 counties in Indiana that have banned all future data center projects. We know a few others have issued moratoriums. Most are in a wait and see mode. In many, many conversations with our planning department, we feel like Bartholomew County actually doesn't set up very well for data centers. That it's extremely highly populated. There are not a lot of good places for it. You know, when you're talking about the needs of a data center, you need a lot of land, good water access, but also good connection to energy grids and things like that. And so in the conversations we've had with planning as well as with energy creators, Bartholomew County doesn't really set up very well for hyperscale data centers. We have data centers in Bartholomew County. They're small, they're not AI driven, they're more storage facilities. And they are good neighbors and good partners in the community. So just a blind ban of data centers doesn't necessarily serve anyone. The statement says that we're counting on our planning department and our attorney to sort of sift through a lot of the misinformation out there so that if we decide to take a particular stand on this issue, then we have the correct information.
Carl, do you, I think you know the answer to this, but we have land in Bartholomew County that could be used as a data center. Is that correct?
We do.
But it's only a very small portion of our county that's currently zoned in such a way that a data center could come in. And our planning commission and planning department is gonna talk about that in our September meeting and then probably present something to the commissioners that would at least make those few isolated areas a conditional use instead of a permitted use, which is a first big step, and that could happen very quickly. But
Well, let's make it clear. It is not an allowed use in agricultural zoned areas right now, right? So the only place where it could possibly be considered would be in an industrial location, of which Bartholomew County has very few. And
the few that we do have are in the northern
in the
part of our
northern
county.
portion. And that's what the
Not a secret.
Planning Commission is going to take up in September. As the city did last month. But yeah, this further step and further conversations will clear up a lot going forward.
Carl, do you, as a farmer, do you have thoughts or? I know you're
Yeah,
on board with
I'm
this.
always concerned about the loss of agricultural land, whether it be for houses or businesses or data centers or solar farms. So I may be a little selfish, but that's my concern.
I just had a small question about the possibility.
Could you please stand up and give us your name?
My name is Jerica Lowe. I'm
Jerica.
here in Columbus. I just had a question about the possibility of new rezoning of agricultural area to industrial area, or if anybody's had questions about that, or if you guys brought that up.
I don't know that is, first off, that's never been an issue. It's never been an application to the planning department to rezone agricultural to industrial for this
I
purpose.
mean, it happens on occasion, but generally speaking, I mean, that's a path that people take.
Yes.
That would be the first step someone would do if they bought up a
Yeah, I was
large
just
piece of
wondering if
ground,
that
they
was
would,
happening right now, or if
No.
you guys had any.
It's a public meeting and a public hearing.
Okay.
yeah,
to do that.
okay.
And I also had another question, about the, possibility of, I know that Cummins has a contract with data centers in Texas right now for their generators.
Mhm.
I was wondering if that's gonna have a big impact on our city with the new developments of housing coming up. I didn't know if how much of that's actually gonna go to the city or the residents of the area, or for outsourced, employment.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
The housing that's going up, the apartments and stuff that we have developing around the area right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I do know that, there's gonna be a lot of people coming in for jobs that are currently available right now for Cummins because of mass, demand for the generators for the data centers. And I was just wondering if that's gonna have a big impact on our area.
I don't think the generators are built here for those big, you remember Cummins is a global company.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, they've actually stated there's more demand than they have right now, so they're gonna be expanding. And I was just wanting to make sure if that's gonna happen.
I don't have any information in regard to that.
Oh, I was just checking,
Okay,
but that's all questions I have. Thank you.
thank you. Anybody else have any questions regarding that issue or any other?
Tony, I struggle with, and we discuss this a lot. About, there's a fine line between personal property rights and community property rights. And we're very sensitive to that. I know you personally have stood pretty strongly on personal property rights, and that continues to be a foundational principle that we have. The concern is that, the concern for the public is the consumption of resources. And that's why there's so much interest in the community, is fear of consumption of resources, which drives everyone's costs higher for the benefit and profit of some company. That's the concern.
No, it's concerned,
So
but
how
it's
do you
also,
juggle, how do you balance all
well,
that?
you make sure the information you're getting is right.
Yeah,
And so with regard to what you just brought up, yes, there are data centers that use enormous amounts of water. There are some that don't use any. And there are data centers that have cost communities higher electric bills. And there are some that have lowered community and energy bills. So there is no one size fits all here. That's why you have to get the correct information. Mr. French,
Yeah, there are also concerns.
could you stand up and come out from behind that pole? Because everybody can hear you.
So there are also concerns of off-site impacts of being a good neighbor. It's
Noise.
not just consuming the resources.
No, it's also
Air
noise.
pollution from all of the gas turbine generators that they're using, noise pollution,
Right.
things of that nature.
That's right. And so, but it's also
Decreasing
not,
property values.
business as
but it's
well.
also not universal. So
Right.
there are ways to mitigate a lot of those things. So, with that being said, we're asking our attorney and planning department to sift through those arguments and get us the best information possible for going forward.
Tony, is it all right if I make a motion concerning this, that we actually sign it and send it?
Sure.
I'll move that we, the commissioners, actually sign this statement and forward it to the planning department, the plan commission, and the media.
I'll second that, Tony.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you, commissioners, for that. Thank you, everybody in the audience today. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the good questions and all the good comments.